Welcome back, you beautiful babes. We love you. We see you.
And babes, we need to once again spiral for a minute because babes, we're not seeing our numbers go up.
We are going to need the Snark squad to share this podcast with their messy bestie the same way we show up here every single day.
And that's on realness, period.
But seriously, you need to text the link to this show to your group chats right now because we have an absolutely chaotic lineup today. I am talking Britney's newly dropped dash cam footage, the entire royal family being dragged into terrifying Diddy rumors, and Taylor Swift's prenup drama, which has me literally physically sweating. Buckle up, babes.
It is a profound mess out there, like a meticulously orchestrated Hollywood disaster. But before we even attempt to unpack the wreckage of these celebrity PR teams, we need to talk about what is sitting in our glasses right now. Because tonight, Snark Squad, we're drinking something entirely new, a Cantaloupe Hugo Spritz. And babes, this drink is elite behavior.
I am emotionally obsessed with this presentation. I mean, just look at it in the light.
It is very bright.
Look at the color. It is giving sunset on the Amalfi Coast. It's giving wealthy widow who just inherited a Tuscan villa under highly suspicious circumstances, you know? The little melon balls resting on the mint garnish, the dramatic condensation dripping down this oversized, frankly unnecessary crystal wine glass. I feel incredibly classy right now for absolutely no reason whatsoever. Like, I am fully pretending we are on a European getaway instead of sitting on this couch.
I feel like an unlicensed mixologist critiquing this, and I know you're entirely lost in your fantasy, but honestly, the flavor profile is aggressively trying to be sophisticated when it's really just juice.
Stop. It is not just juice.
It is essentially spiked melon water with an alarming amount of mint, but because it has a splash of Prosecco and a drop of elderflower liqueur, we're sitting here acting like we have trust funds.
The melon to mint ratio is a little chaotic on the palate, I have to say.
You are so endlessly cynical. You cannot deny that holding a spritz automatically makes a person look 10 times hotter. It is a documented scientific fact.
Yes. You put a giant, icy, pastel orange drink in someone's hand, and suddenly they have an aura of mystery. They look like they have secrets. I am romanticizing fruit cocktails immediately. This is the official summer drink aesthetic.
It really is a fascinating psychological trick. Holding a Hugo Spritz is essentially the beverage equivalent of wearing designer sunglasses indoors at a nightclub.
Oh my God, wait, that is so accurate.
Right. It is completely unnecessary. It actively impairs your vision of reality.
Yeah.
But it is an absolute power move. It tells the world, you know, I have nowhere urgent to be, and I might just judge your outfit over the rim of this glass.
Exactly. Cheers to our delusions, babe.
Cheers.
Ugh, it is so cold and... Okay, but living in our delusions brings me to a crucial update we need to give the Snark squad. Because Vegetarian Week is still going strong, and honestly, we're surprising ourselves.
Surprising is definitely one word for it. Torturing my inner child who just wants a chicken nugget is another way to phrase it.
Stop complaining because tonight we had spicy cashew noodles for dinner. And babes, I'm not exaggerating. They were amazing.
They were heavily seasoned.
I am in absolute shock that I am accidentally enjoying healthy food. Like, I genuinely loved every bite of it. The crunch of the cashews, the chili oil, the scallions. It was a culinary revelation.
Let's dial back the Michelin star review for a second. They were fine. They were drowning in chili crisp, which is the only conceivable way to disguise the devastating fact that there was no meat in the bowl.
It had protein. Cashews have protein.
I am going to be entirely vulnerable with you and the beautiful babes listening right now. I emotionally miss cheeseburgers on a deep spiritual level. I am having visceral drive-through withdrawals. My car steering wheel naturally wants to veer into a McDonald's lane.
You need to let the grease go and fully embrace the vegetarian hot girl era. I am already feeling significantly healthier. I swear my skin is glowing today.
It's the ring light.
No, it's the vegetables. I am 5 minutes away from buying a yoga retreat, throwing away my phone, and becoming one of those insufferable wellness influencers.
You are absolutely not glowing from a handful of cashews. You are glowing because you are 3 sips into a Cantaloupe Hugo Spritz and the Prosecco is hitting your bloodstream. Let's stay grounded in reality.
Whatever, let me have my wellness fantasy.
Yeah.
But honestly, tell me this. Is a cashew noodle just the universe's way of apologizing for kale?
What do you mean?
Because kale was an abusive, toxic relationship we all collectively suffered through in 2014. We were all massaging raw leaves with olive oil pretending we were happy. These spicy noodles feel like a warm, carbo-loaded hug from the universe to make up for that drama.
It's the universe's way of tricking your brain into consuming a plant. It's a culinary Trojan horse. But fine, I will begrudgingly admit the noodles slapped.
See, I told you. Now, thankfully, there was no rec basketball tonight to drain our energy, but we did have Italian class.
Oh, please don't remind me. The academic failure of it all.
Babes, this was class number 4, and once again, Instructor Giovanni arrived looking like an entire multi-course feast.
A feast that entirely derailed any actual, tangible educational progress we were supposed to make in that room.
I am still spiraling about my absolute inability to focus during this lesson. The man wore linen in the evening. Who pulls off an evening linen button-down?
Only Giovanni.
Right. The chokehold foreign accents have on us is actually embarrassing. I spent the entire hour ignoring the whiteboard and pretending I was the main character in a sweaty, high-budget Italian romance movie. I was literally casting the movie in my head while he was explaining irregular verbs.
I watched you. You were completely checked out. Your eyes were glazed over.
I was manifesting.
Meanwhile, I was sitting there, pen firmly in hand, actively pretending I was taking rigorous scholarly notes on verb conjugations. But if anyone looked closely at my notebook, I was actually just staring at his jawline, trying to figure out if it was genetically engineered in a lab.
See, you were distracted too.
I learned absolutely nothing. Why do language classes suddenly feel so incredibly seductive? It's literally just syntax and grammar rules.
Because it's preparation for our Italian hot girl era. The seduction is in the manifestation. I am manifesting future European vacations. We are going to be multilingual queens, walking down cobblestone streets in Rome, tossing our hair, laughing effortlessly with the locals while we sip espresso.
Let's be very real with the Snark Squad for a second, because the delusion is getting out of hand.
What delusion?
At this exact point, after 4 weeks of instruction and staring at Giovanni, we only know enough Italian to vaguely flirt and confidently order a bottle of wine.
Which honestly covers the essentials.
Right, which is all we actually need to survive in a major metropolitan European city. If a medical emergency happens, we are entirely doomed. We will perish. But if a handsome waiter approaches the table, we are thriving. We will be hydrated and buzzed.
Exactly. We are faking it beautifully. The aesthetic is there. And, from the absolute delusion of our Italian class, we need to pivot to the professional delusion happening in Hollywood right now.
Oh, the PR machinery is operating at maximum capacity.
Because faking it for the aesthetic is essentially the entire business model of the entertainment industry, and the celebrity showmances are working overtime this week.
Let's start with the undisputed queen of keeping her name in the press, Jennifer Lopez.
Yes. Okay, so J.Lo and Brett Goldstein. The rumors have been absolutely flying that these two are having a steamy, off-camera romance ahead of their R-rated Netflix rom-com. The movie is literally called Office Romance, and it drops June 5, 2026.
It is the most transparent, aggressively textbook Hollywood showmance I have seen in a decade. You have to respect the sheer hustle of her team.
Like it's totally fake.
Oh, 100%. The insiders are literally whispering to every tabloid that this is purely business. Look at the mechanics of this. The movie needs heat because Netflix algorithms favor off-screen drama. Brett Goldstein desperately wants leading man status to transition out of his grumpy Ted Lasso era. And Jennifer Lopez is the absolute master of controlling the narrative post-Ben Affleck divorce.
See, this is where I actually disagree with you. I know the PR machine is real, but after the whole Ben Affleck split, she needs a genuine win. She needs to feel adored. And Brett is charming, he's funny, he's got that rugged British thing going on. I think she might actually be into him.
Babes, you are being completely blinded by the rom-com lighting. It's a LinkedIn endorsement disguised as a romantic relationship. That's all this is.
A LinkedIn endorsement.
Yes. Do you remember when Pamela Anderson and Liam Neeson pulled that incredibly bizarre PR stunt where they were supposedly dating to promote the Naked Gun reboot? It's the exact same playbook, just updated for the streaming era. PR romances are just corporate synergy with better tailoring and occasional hand-holding for the paparazzi.
You are so cold. But fine, at least J.Lo and Brett make sense on paper for a movie promo. But what about a romance where the mechanics are totally different? Jacob Elordi and Kendall Jenner. This one is giving me absolute whiplash.
The height difference alone is a logistical nightmare for the paparazzi. But visually, stunning. A genetic masterpiece.
They have reportedly been in a highly secretive 3-month romance. There was a private Hawaiian getaway, and supposedly a double date with Kylie Jenner and Timothée Chalamet.
To be a fly on the wall during that double date.
I would pay actual hard-earned money. The silence at that table must have been deafening. But the analysis of the PR strategy here is so fascinating to me. The streets are saying Jacob's team is deliberately using the Kardashian-Jenner machine to elevate him to the next tier of fame.
Oh, absolutely. Look at the strategic trajectory of his career. He starts as the kissing booth teen heartthrob, which he publicly hated.
Hmm.
Then he pivots to prestige television and Euphoria. Then he does Priscilla and Saltburn. He has the critical acclaim. Now he needs the omnipresence.
Right.
He needs to cement himself as a larger-than-life classic Hollywood leading man. And there's no better, faster escalator to global, inescapable household name fame than dating a Jenner. It mainlines you into the pop culture bloodstream.
But hold on, doesn't his team worry about the Kardashian curse? Historically, the men who enter that specific orbit don't always leave with their sanity or their careers intact. Look at Chris Humphries. Look at Ben Simmons. You cannot tell me the PR machine doesn't chew men up and spit them out.
The curse is entirely a myth for anyone who already has their own solid foundation before they walk through the gates of Calabasas. Timothy Chalamet survived the Kylie era completely fine. Jacob Elordi is playing a highly calculated game. He is fully embracing the machinery of fame right now.
Speaking of fully embracing the machinery of fame and completely changing your image for a partner, we have to talk about the most chaotic pairing of the year, Justin Trudeau and Katy Perry.
Oh boy.
And babes, Snark Squad, listen to me very carefully before you hit the comments. We are explicitly stating right now that we are staying completely politically neutral on this. We do not care about the politics of Canada. We do not care about the policy, the legislation, or the elections. We only care about the pop culture whiplash of this situation.
Entirely neutral. Zero political commentary will be made on this couch. We are purely looking at this as a fascinating sociological study of a man willingly turning himself into a celebrity handbag. Because that is exactly what is happening to him.
It is wild. He went from being a suit-wearing G7 head of state to basically being Katy Perry's glittering +1 on red carpets. He is bending his entire lifestyle and his aesthetic to fit hers.
It's the ultimate image overhaul, but maybe not in the direction he intended. He stepped into this relationship with global political weight, and now he's doing peace signs backstage at pop music festivals wearing designer streetwear.
The streetwear, I can't.
It's fascinating because historically the celebrity tones down their image to match the politician. Think of how Meghan Markle changed her wardrobe to neutrals when she first joined the royals. But here, the politician is bedazzling his life to match the pop star. The power dynamic is entirely inverted.
I am just picturing him in a brightly lit dressing room, carrying her lip gloss, trying to coordinate outfits with her backup dancers. It's a very weird look for his serious statesman vibe. I just want to know what happens if they break up. How does he recover his geopolitical image after being a pop star's highly photographed boyfriend?
He doesn't recover it. He just pivots to launching a media company. That's the modern pipeline.
Yeah.
But look, moving from political institutions completely altering their image to royal institutions completely crumbling under the weight of their own scandals, we need to cross the pond.
Because the royals are an absolute mess right now. They are in their ultimate flop era. The PR strategy is non-existent. We have to start with Harry and Meghan. Because, babes, it was their 8th wedding anniversary.
8 years. It feels like 50 years of constant tabloid warfare.
Right. They celebrated privately with a lemon elderflower cake, which sounds divine, honestly. And they apparently exchanged penguin statues referencing their engagement because penguins mate for life. Adorable.
Very cute.
But the blazing hot tea is that the royal family completely, utterly ghosted them. No public statements on Instagram, no private phone calls. Absolute chilling crickets from London.
The silence is deafening, and it is entirely ruthlessly intentional. We've been hearing all these persistent rumors about Project Thaw, this alleged PR attempt engineered by Harry's team to slowly reconcile. But the fact that there was zero acknowledgement on a major anniversary proves that the feud might be completely unfixable.
It breaks my romantic heart a little bit. And speaking of their 2018 wedding, Meghan's reception speech at Frogmore House just resurfaced in the press. She was the first royal bride in modern British history to physically stand up and speak at her own reception.
Unprecedented.
And she famously compared herself to the Little Mermaid losing her voice when she joined the family.
I am emotionally reacting to this right now. Can you imagine the energy in that room shifting when she said that?
You could literally hear a pin drop. It's brilliant, theatrically speaking. It was a perfectly crafted warning shot wrapped in a digestible Disney fairy tale metaphor.
Picture the scene. The traditional, emotionally repressed royals sitting there in their tuxedos while this modern American actress essentially tells them into a microphone that she feels silenced by their institution on day one. It belongs in a prestige HBO drama.
It really does. But listen, the Sussexes across the ocean are genuinely the least of King Charles and Queen Camilla's problems right now, because there are massive, deeply disturbing Diddy rumors touching the extended family.
Yes, this is from a new, highly controversial biography called Entitled by the historian Andrew Lowney. Let me preface this entire segment by saying everything discussed here is alleged because the royals are notoriously sue-happy and we do not have the legal budget to fight the crown.
We absolutely do not.
But the book alleges that Sarah Ferguson, Fergie, the Duchess of York, had a secret, years-long friendship with Sean Diddy Combs after initially meeting him at a 2002 party hosted by Ghislaine Maxwell.
Just stringing those three names together, Diddy, Fergie, Ghislaine Maxwell in one single sentence is an absolute nightmare for any palace PR team.
Diddy's team is actively calling the claims ridiculous gossip. But the palace insiders are allegedly saying Charles and Camilla are absolutely horrified. It is profoundly mortifying for the sitting king to constantly have to clean up the toxic messes of the extended family.
It's exhausting. I would be tired if I were Charles. And with Charles currently undergoing cancer treatments, the entire weight of the monarchy is essentially being carried on the very thin shoulders of Prince William and Kate Middleton.
They are the absolute structural pillars holding up the entire crumbling institution right now.
Kate just did a massive solo trip to Italy to promote early childhood development, and the crowds were insane. They were screaming for her like she was a pop star.
I have to ask, is Kate basically the Beyoncé of the royal family right now? Because if she stops working, if she decides to step back, I genuinely feel like the whole institution collapses into dust immediately. That is exactly what she is. She is the undeniable star power, the visual appeal, and the stabilizing force. The king is the incumbent CEO, but William and Kate are the future of the brand. And Kate knows exactly how to play the long game, smiling through the pain, waving flawlessly, never complaining publicly.
See, I agree she is the star, but I don't think she's fixing the mess. I think she's just a very pretty Band-Aid over a gaping wound. But God save Kate, honestly, she is working overtime. Now, pivoting from royal bad behavior that gets swept under the rug to actual literal Hollywood bad behavior that gets caught on police body cams.
Oh, this one is heavy.
Because the Britney Spears dashcam footage from her March 4th DUI arrest just dropped, and it is a lot to process.
It is deeply uncomfortable to watch, but we have to unpack the mechanics of what happened.
Okay, setting the scene. She was pulled over for swerving. She completely failed the physical field sobriety test on the side of the road, and she was cuffed. But the messy, confusing details. She actually blew under the legal blood alcohol limit on the breathalyzer. But then she openly admitted to the cops that she drank a mimosa earlier, and also casually mentioned popping Adderall, Prozac, and Lamictal that same day. And then she literally looked at the cop and said, "I could drink 4 bottles of wine and take care of you. I'm an angel."
The sheer chaotic confidence of making that statement while actively failing to walk in a straight line for law enforcement is wild. Let's break down the legal outcome here. She ended up taking a wet, reckless plea deal.
What does that actually mean?
For anyone who isn't fluent in high-priced celebrity lawyer jargon, a wet reckless is a specific legal plea where a DUI charge is reduced to reckless driving with an acknowledgement that alcohol was involved. It's a loophole heavily utilized by expensive defense attorneys to help their clients avoid the severe mandatory penalties of a full DUI conviction.
Wow, okay.
So she got 12 months probation instead of jail time. But legally aside, the substance cocktail she admitted to is deeply concerning. However, the wildest, most shocking part of the body cam audio wasn't the DUI itself. It was what she spontaneously said about her mother in the back of the cruiser.
This took such a dark, traumatic turn. She casually threw massive historical shade at her mom, Lynn Spears. The cop warned her about the severe dangers of driving intoxicated and potentially killing a pedestrian. And Britney, without missing a beat, just goes, "My mom accidentally killed a man on a bike, but I never did that."
Which is a factual, devastating historical event. In 1975, long before Britney was famous, Lynn Spears accidentally hit and killed a 12-year-old bicyclist.
Yeah.
Lynn even wrote about the agonizing trauma of it in her 2008 memoir.
That is so dark.
But for Britney to weaponize that specific, horrific tragedy against her mother in the back of a police cruiser to deflect from her own arrest, and then to further claim on the tape that Lynn actively tried to kill her too via the mechanics of the conservatorship. The family dynamics there are so fundamentally fractured, I honestly don't think they will ever be repaired.
It's so incredibly sad. But also, The sheer chaotic energy of her fighting with the cop, calling herself dumb, it's a tragic mess. It shows how much unhealed trauma she is carrying around. And, from emotional trauma to properties that seem to carry physical trauma. Let's talk about Johnny Depp.
His West Hollywood house is genuinely, certifiably cursed. It needs an exorcism, not a security team.
A repeat female trespasser was just spotted loitering at his heavily fortified front gates, filming the house, trying to leave some manic message, and she managed to completely escape into the hills before the LAPD even arrived on the scene.
Why is his security perimeter so incredibly porous for a man of his immense wealth? Do you remember the absolute absurdity in 2021 when a homeless man literally broke into the estate, casually made himself a top-shelf drink from Depp's private liquor cabinet, and took a luxurious shower in one of his guest bathrooms?
Yes. The man just wanted a five-star spa day at Jack Sparrow's house. But seriously, the neighbors are reportedly completely on edge. It feels like this specific piece of real estate just acts as a magnet for eccentric, unhinged energy.
It's the aura of the owner seeping into the soil. Now, from unhinged trespassers to deeply unhinged and terrible pet parenting, we need to talk about Khloe Kardashian because this enraged me.
Oh, this made my blood boil. Khloe went on a lifestyle podcast and casually admitted that she deeply regrets declawing her two cats, Gray Kitty and Baby Kitty.
She claimed, very defensively, that she was misadvised by the vet and did zero independent research because she had never owned cats before. She claimed she didn't even know it was a big deal, like it was just a standard grooming procedure.
How do you not Google a surgical procedure before you authorize a doctor to perform it on a living creature that depends on you? Declawing isn't a manicure. I need everyone to understand the anatomy of what this actually is. It is essentially amputating the first knuckle of the cat's toes. You are severing bone and tendon.
It's barbaric.
Now, the cats are reportedly miserable, they are in chronic pain, they have to wear air tags constantly, and they aren't even allowed near the front drain because they literally have zero physical defenses to protect themselves if they accidentally get outside.
It is a perfect, horrifying metaphor for the Kardashian approach to life. It is exactly like buying a high-end luxury sports car, having the mechanic permanently remove the brake pads because you didn't bother to read the owner's manual, and then complaining on a podcast that you can't drive it safely anymore.
That analogy is so spot on.
It's pure, staggering negligence masquerading as innocent ignorance. And you absolutely know PETA is in her mentions right now drafting a massive public relations nightmare of a lawsuit. The Kardashians treat pets like aesthetic accessories for Instagram photos.
It is so profoundly unfair to the cats. Do better, Khloe. Take accountability. But keeping on the theme of questionable parenting choices and public backlash, let's talk about Jessica Simpson versus Nick Lachey. Because the petty early 2000s MTV reality show drama is back in the zeitgeist, and I am entirely here for it.
A petty, high-altitude flight seating arrangement dispute. My absolute favorite low-stakes kind of drama.
So, Jessica Simpson is aggressively defending herself in the press right now because she flew first class to Hawaii for a vacation with her mom and her estranged husband, Eric Johnson. But her 3 kids, they sat entirely separated in the economy cabin for a 6-hour flight over the Pacific Ocean.
And how exactly did the public find out about this deeply embarrassing seating arrangement? Because Nick Lachey, her ex-husband from literally 20 years ago, happened to be booked on the exact same commercial flight to Hawaii with his current wife, Vanessa, and their kids. And Nick's entire family was sitting together, unified, in the first-class cabin.
The odds of that are insane. Nick immediately went on Andy Cohen's show and totally outed her to millions of viewers. He was like, yeah, we saw Jessica up in first class, but her kids were somewhere else in the back, the shade.
He was loving it.
Oh, entirely. So Jessica was cornered and had to clap back to the paparazzi at LAX yelling, my mom bought those tickets. It was a treat from my mom.
That is the weakest, most embarrassing defense a grown multi-millionaire woman can offer. Let's break down the socioeconomics of first-class parenting. If your wealthy mother buys you a first-class ticket as a treat, and your young children are relegated to the coach cabin next to the bathrooms, you do one of two things.
What do you do?
You swap seats with your kids so they get the luxury, or you use your own immense wealth to buy upgrades for the entire family. You absolutely do not sip complimentary champagne in seat 2A while your 7-year-old is fighting a stranger for the armrest in 34B. Nick Lachey actively choosing to bring it up on national television is so incredibly petty, but I applaud the messiness.
Oh, I totally disagree with you here. Being a mom is exhausting. If grandma wants to treat Jessica to 6 hours of peace and quiet away from her kids, let the woman recline her seat in peace. The kids will survive economy. It builds character. Nick Lachey is just obsessed with proving he won the breakup 2 decades later.
Agree to disagree.
Moving from treating kids like cargo to treating them like reality TV fodder, Brooke Shields is apparently sick to her stomach right now.
As she entirely should be. Any mother would be.
Her 23-year-old daughter, Rowan, is officially joining the cast of Bravo's new reality show, Next Gen NYC. Brooke went on the Today Show and emotionally admitted she was completely terrified for her daughter because Brooke has been in the industry since she was a child. She knows exactly how the meat grinder works.
She's seen it all.
She said she explicitly warned Rowan not to engage in bad behavior just for ratings because Bravo literally feeds on human drama and conflict.
Brooke Shields grew up in a heavily policed era of Hollywood where documented bad behavior instantly ruined your career and got you blacklisted. Now, in the reality TV ecosystem, bad behavior is the exact currency that gets you a lucrative second season and a sponsored deal with a questionable skinny pea company.
Right.
She told her daughter to treat the show purely as a clinical business stepping stone. But let's analyze the psychology of this. Will Rowan actually survive the Bravo machine? The producers will relentlessly chew her up and spit her out if she tries to be the boring, grounded voice of reason. Reason does not get screen time on Bravo. Throwing a glass of wine gets screen time.
Exactly. I feel bad for Brooke because she's a fiercely protective mom who has seen the dark side of fame, but Rowan is a grown adult stepping willingly into the Bravo Thunderdome. Good luck, babe. You're going to need a great therapist. Now, from the artificial drama of Bravo to the very real structural drama of late-night television, Jimmy Kimmel is officially boycotting CBS.
The late-night wars have evolved from passive-aggressive monologues to full-blown corporate warfare.
Jimmy Kimmel announced to his audience that he is taking his own show off the air for a night, airing a rerun in complete unwavering solidarity with Stephen Colbert, whose Late Show was just abruptly canceled by CBS. Jimmy looked directly into the camera, told his viewers to go watch Colbert's live finale instead of his own show, and then literally told his millions of viewers, don't ever watch CBS again.
It is incredibly historically rare for rival talk show hosts to actually support each other publicly like this. The late-night television space is notoriously cutthroat. Jay Leno and David Letterman would have never done this for each other.
It's giving two rival prom queens who have fiercely hated each other all year, constantly trying to sabotage each other's campaigns, but then the corrupt principal suddenly tries to cancel the dance entirely, so they team up, put their differences aside, and try to burn the school down.
Precisely. Let's look at the macro conclusion here. CBS officially claims the cancellation of Colbert was purely a financial decision to cut costs. But we all know the timing is highly suspicious. But the bigger picture is that the traditional late-night TV model is rapidly dying.
It totally is.
These millionaire hosts are finally realizing that they have significantly more power banding together as a united front than they do fighting each other over a continuously shrinking cable TV audience. Kimmel telling his audience to boycott an entire legacy network is a massive, unprecedented middle finger to the corporate executives. I love when millionaires fight billionaires on television.
Me too. The solidarity is actually kind of beautiful in a messy way. Now, we need to pivot because we love women supporting women, especially when they are telling it exactly like it is about physical health and the reality of aging. Let's start with some amazing, purely joyous news. Jessie J.
Yes, a desperately needed bright spot of genuine joy in a very cynical news cycle.
She just gave a deeply emotional update on her Instagram, and she is officially cancer-free. After undergoing a grueling mastectomy and reconstruction surgery for breast cancer last year, her doctors gave her the all clear. I am so emotionally happy for her.
It is incredible, triumphant news. She cut it early, which is crucial. She was completely transparent with her fans about pausing her massive tour to prioritize her physical health, and now she is safely on the other side.
And unfortunately, the tragic reality is that as one woman joyously beats it, another is just starting her terrifying battle. Vanessa Trump, Don Jr.'s ex-wife, just publicly announced her own breast cancer diagnosis.
It's a brutal, sobering reminder of exactly how prevalent this disease is, regardless of your wealth or status.
Yes, her daughter Kai posted a really beautiful, touching tribute to her mom's strength on social media. And her current boyfriend, which, by the way, I completely forgot about this unexpected pairing, Tiger Woods, is reportedly stepping up big time to support her. This is right after his own highly publicized rehab stint.
He had that devastating DUI incident and the extensive inpatient treatment facility stint in Switzerland. But the insiders say they are still very much in love, and he is fully focused on being a stable rock for her recovery process. Having a supportive, present partner makes a massive difference.
Absolutely, sending so much love and healing energy to Vanessa. Now, from serious health updates to the absolute unapologetic realness of aging in the public eye, Joy Behar went on a comedy podcast and actively chose violence.
She woke up, drank her coffee, and decided to verbally assault the ego of every aging man in Hollywood.
She ruthlessly roasted aging men who get bad Botox, eyelid surgery, and aggressive hair dye jobs, calling them visually ridiculous. She basically argued that men should just age naturally and gracefully because society automatically gives them a pass. Men get gray hair and wrinkles, and society calls them distinguished, whereas women are judged so incredibly harshly if they show a single fine line.
What makes this commentary so uniquely amazing is the blatant hypocrisy intertwined with the absolute refreshing realness. She's ripping these older men to shreds for surgically altering their appearance out of vanity, while simultaneously admitting in the exact same breath that she herself gets Restylane dermal fillers and regularly dyes her hair to hide the gray.
Look how stunning the hair looks. That's literally what she yelled into the microphone. I love her so much. It's hypocritical, yes, but she is fiercely owning the hypocrisy. She's essentially saying, I have to do this toxic maintenance because the patriarchal society demands it of women on television.
It's a glaring double standard, but she's articulating the sociological reality of it in the most aggressive, quintessential Joy Behar way possible. And objectively speaking, older men getting bad frozen Botox do look ridiculous. She's not wrong on the aesthetics.
She is never wrong, Joy Behar for president.
And speaking of unapologetic, loud women who refuse to change, Cardi B was recently interviewed talking about the realities of motherhood. She says being a mom to 4 kids hasn't changed her bold, explicit style or her personality at all. She literally said, they haven't changed me for expletive.
Well, she did make one tiny hilarious concession to traditional parenting. She admitted she won't wear entirely see-through mesh shirts to the elementary school drop-off line, so there is a boundary, however thin it may be. Barely a line, but a line. We love a modest queen at 8 a.m. But the most relatable, messy part of the interview is her talking about her toddler daughter, Culture. Culture is apparently systematically destroying Cardi's legendary closet. She's touching the pristine designer purses with sticky hands, leaving a trail of destruction everywhere.
Let's contextualize this. When your custom closet contains over $500,000 worth of rare, exotic skin, Hermes Birkin bags, a bored toddler is basically an unguided weapon of mass destruction.
Cardi is now aggressively enforcing a strict rule.
Yeah.
You play in the closet, you clean the closet. I just love the visual of a tiny, glittering child trying to organize archival, custom muggler gowns and put them back on velvet hangers. Motherhood doesn't change who you fundamentally are. It just radically changes who you have to constantly clean up after.
Exactly. It's behavior modification through forced labor. Okay, as we begin to wrap up this incredibly chaotic week of news, we need to talk about the 2 massive, overarching things that truly make the world go round, and the 2 things that inevitably cause the most devastating drama: weddings and money.
Let's start with the wedding of the century that hasn't even legally happened yet. Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce.
The prenup speculation has officially legally begun in the press.
A top, ruthless matrimonial lawyer in Los Angeles is predicting to the tabloids that Taylor and Travis will have a brutal, ironclad NDA baked into their prenuptial contract. And here's the catch that has me physically spiraling and sweating. This means Taylor might be legally, financially barred from ever singing about Travis or the intimate details of their marriage if things eventually go south and they divorce.
We need to explain the legal mechanics behind this because it's fascinating.
Yeah.
Legally speaking, in many jurisdictions, intellectual property and songs written during the duration of the marriage could be fiercely debated in court as marital assets. A marital asset is property acquired during the marriage that must be split evenly in a divorce.
Okay, right.
If she writes a billion-dollar album about him divorcing her, he could theoretically sue for half the royalties of that album because the marriage itself inspired the asset.
I am sweating. I am unwell. A Taylor Swift relationship without an accompanying devastating album attached to it. That goes against the fundamental laws of physics. Her entire global brand, her artistic identity, her billionaire status is entirely built on her unique ability to metabolize her personal romantic life into highly specific, chart-topping hits.
It's an incredibly complex, high-stakes legal dilemma for her team. Do you strictly protect your current billion-dollar financial assets with a draconian non-disclosure agreement that gags both parties, or do you fiercely protect your future creative assets by intentionally leaving a legal loophole that allows you to write a 10-minute emotionally devastating diss track?
They will definitely leave a loophole.
Knowing Taylor's notoriously shark-like legal team, they will probably invent an entirely new legal clause. They will draft something that allows her absolute freedom to write and release songs, but legally mandates that Travis waives all rights to claim any royalties from any tracks categorized under heartbreak.
That would be so iconic. Your Honor, Section 4 of the prenup clearly states she owns the rights to all teardrops, moving from theoretical, legally binding weddings to actual, aesthetically insufferable ones, Zoe Kravitz and Harry Styles.
The visual aesthetic of this wedding is going to be genuinely unbearable for normal people to look at. The combined cheekbones of the bride and groom alone will blind the event photographer.
They are actively planning a small, intimate Christmas wedding, and the rumor mill has it they will actually have two separate weddings. One in NYC, specifically structured so Lenny Kravitz can attend easily without flying too far, and a second, massive blowout one in London for Harry's crowd.
A winter wedding in Manhattan, probably at some impossibly dimly lit, exclusive boutique hotel in Tribeca, followed by a sprawling, damp countryside London bash. It's sickeningly chic. I hope they both wear vintage crushed velvet.
See, you think it's chic, I think it's exhausting. Two weddings is just pure narcissism. Pick a continent. You are making your friends buy two different outfits and cross an ocean just to watch you kiss the same person twice. It's entirely too much. But finally, speaking of people in Manhattan who do entirely too much, we have a massive billionaire feud. NYC Mayor Zoran Mamdani versus Amazon founder Jeff Bezos.
Oh, wow.
And babes, Snark Squad, I am repeating this again so it is crystal clear. We are staying completely 100% out of the politics here. We do not care about the actual tax policy or the economic theory. We only live for a messy, petty Twitter clapback between powerful men.
A digital duel between a sitting mayor and a tech overlord. It's modern gladiator combat.
So Jeff Bezos was complaining live on CNBC that aggressively raising taxes on billionaires won't logically help regular working-class people, like public school teachers in Queens. He basically argued that doubling his personal tax rate wouldn't actually fix the broken system. So Mayor Mamdani immediately fired back on X, quote, "I know a few teachers in Queens who would beg to differ."
Boom. Publicly roasted by a civil servant.
Right. But the drama gets deeper. Bezos was also aggressively defending Citadel CEO Ken Griffin against Mamdani's newly proposed pied-à-terre tax. Anyway, pause. Before we get into the Twitter fingers of it all, what actually is a pied-à-terre tax? Explain it to me like I'm a 5-year-old who only understands real estate through the game of Monopoly.
Okay, perfectly fair question. Imagine you own the boardwalk in Monopoly, right?
Yep.
It's the most expensive property. But you never actually build houses on it, and you never actually live there. You just hold it because you're rich, and you want a place to occasionally crash when you visit the board.
Okay, making sense so far.
In real life, billionaires buy massive, multi-million-dollar penthouse apartments in New York City. They're pied-à-terre. But they only live in them for maybe 2 weeks out of the entire year. The rest of the time, the apartment sits completely empty. A pied-à-terre tax is a special extra tax. The city charges these ultra-wealthy owners for hoarding prime residential real estate and leaving it vacant while the rest of the city struggles with a massive housing crisis. Bezos was arguing that Ken Griffin shouldn't be penalized for being rich enough to own empty homes.
Okay, that makes total sense. So it's essentially just billionaires publicly defending other billionaires' right to hoard empty sky mansions and a mayor strategically using their out-of-touch complaints for viral Twitter engagement. It is high-level strategic pettiness from everyone involved.
It's entirely performance art at this point. The billionaires are profoundly upset they might have to pay a fraction of a percent more to maintain their empty, dust-gathering penthouses, and the politicians are effectively farming retweets to boost their approval ratings. It's the beautiful, toxic circle of life in New York City.
Truly. Wow, what an absolutely exhausting, chaotic minute. Snark Squad, thank you so much for hanging out with us on the couch, drinking these aggressively aesthetic spritzes with us, and surviving the chaos of these celebrity spirals.
We literally couldn't do this without you, and I mean that literally. because our analytical metrics need you to engage.
So we need to hear from you right now. Get in the comments immediately. What is your absolute favorite summer cocktail? Are you Team Hugo Spritz, or do you have something else that makes you feel like a wealthy widow?
Also, I need you to be completely honest with us. Do accents automatically make people 10 times hotter, or are we just easily manipulated by vowels?
They absolutely do. And do you think our vegetarian week could genuinely survive another few days? Or is the McDonald's drive-through calling our names entirely too loudly? Finally, what specific language would you attempt to learn just to be deeply delusional on a future vacation? Let us know.
Remind them of the housekeeping babes.
Right. Remind yourselves to like, comment, subscribe, and send in your shady, snarky, or deeply stupid submissions. We read absolutely everything you send us.
But before we let you go back to your lives, we want to leave you with one final, deeply provocative thought to mull over while you sip your spritzes. If Taylor Swift is legally financially banned from writing hip songs about her own marriage due to a draconian prenup NDA, will the billionaire class eventually start trademarking their own breakups? Will we soon reach a dystopian future where we have to pay a monthly subscription fee just to hear the legal reasoning behind why two famous people got a divorce?
Oh my God, please don't give them any more ideas. Capitalism is already ruining my life. Stay messy, stay multilingual, and we will see you on the snark side.